Morning everybody, and welcome back, and to all my new subscribers and watchers, thanks for joining us. Today I wanted to do a video on maps, and I picked up a few along my research in the past, and there's quite a lot of difference on them to what we see today, so I just wanted to do a video showing the differences really, and what things looked like on these maps. This map, it's got Grand Tatari there, as you can see. What I noticed on here is China is about as big as India. Their empires are about the same size, and Tataria is, if you don't count just Tatari Desert, which is as big as China, you've got Grand Tatari, which is as big as Europe, Russia, and more probably as well. It's absolutely massive. But there are plenty of towns and places around here. Mogul's up there, Magog there. And in one of my last videos we saw all the mining of the lakes all across the top of Russia. That's basically all the way across here, all the way around here, and it went all the way down to about here, so it's all that had mining across it. And as you can see here, Russia is actually called Muscovy. I think maybe that the Russians, the Rushkins or whatever, are them, but you know, the country is Muscovy in this time. Can't see it say Russia anywhere else. Anyway, I've got to carry on, I ain't got too much time on each one. This one you can see Antarctica, as well as giant fish, but you can see Antarctica travels all the way up to, I think that's New Zealand, so to Australia, and connects to it in this map. I can't get much detail when I zoom in, but I just wanted to show you that there's quite a few of them that do that, and this map was drawn in J596, and America is only the top left, the northwestern section of the USA today is actually called America in these times. Majority of it is actually called Mexicana, and when I see in a minute when we get to clearer pictures of this area, I'll show you different things as well. But South America used to have terra firma there, and it used to actually be called Zuld America. I don't know what Zuld means, but back in them days, as you can see, in whenever this was taken, drawn, sorry, you can see there's quite a lot of places, and a lot of the places that are around today are still there, like Paraguay and Chile and all that. I did notice that all these words down here are names rather than towns, so I'm wondering if they're to do with rivers or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, going to the next one. This one, Paris, can't see a date. Description of the terrestrial globe. Oh yeah, I-775. So this one is from about 250 years ago. And as you can see on here, Tasmania is still connected to Australia, whereas I don't think it is anymore. And you can see Tatari is still there, and Russia it's called now as well. Europa, or Europe, sorry, and that there is Muscovy. So Muscovy was actually a part of Europe back then in the 1700s. Actually, there's quite a few islands down here. I don't know if they're still about to stay or not. I should do some research really. I did notice over here is in one of my other videos where I was saying there was lots of islands across the Pacific that don't exist anymore. According to this map, you can see there's loads of them, and according to Google Earth, there's no islands around here. The island I was talking about, what was it called? The island where you can go and live for free. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. Sorry, I've just woken up. But that island was somewhere, I don't know, somewhere around here, about 5,000 kilometres away from America and South America, and there was no islands between it, so all these islands in this map aren't about anymore. They might be, but they're just not shown on Google. Yes, anyway. Nova Zembla. This is an island that's basically, this is Russia, and then Tartaria there, and then there's this island, and it's still called Nova Zembla today, so I just brought this up just to show that even whenever this was, I don't know, there's no date on it, but whenever it was, they still had ice around the top there, and managed to get great detail on this island, the names and everything and the bays. When you go and look at it, it doesn't look like there's very much there today. So yeah, we got another one. Go on. This one. There's a couple there. Cetrian, livery description. Anyway, this one, don't really know when the date was, but the reason I added it is because it shows the Northlands. Pygmy habitant. I don't know if that means it's habited or not habited, but habitant means what? And when you look here, we've got fall. And I think Frithsland is now Iceland. That looks like a foot. And we've got Greenland there. I imagine Canada. But the reason I put this one on is because it depicts castles. And it shows castles everywhere. You've got London. These could be star forts, or castles, or both, I don't know. But there's lots of them, and you go up here and look how many there are in Sweden and Norway. It's just hundreds almost, just loads and loads of them. It's like Colm Gibney's video a month or two back, where he was showing, I think he was actually showing star forts and stuff down here in France way. But I think he was anyway, but there was just so many of them, and if you zoom out you can see how they're all interconnected. And it's just amazing how many of them were built back then, even whatever this was, maybe 200 or 300 years ago. Still depicting beasts and stuff as well. Oh, actually, it was, I didn't realise they were up there as well. And there. Anyway, so looking at Americas, excuse me, land table of America. Down here is land of Australis incognita, which in other pictures it shows it going up here like this, up to about here where New Zealand is. Whereas this one, it doesn't, it just shows it down here and the name in the sea. But looking at America, Brazil is quite small there. And for some reason this is highlighted. And when you look up here, what you can see is how California is half an island, whereas obviously nowadays it's not an island at all, and you'll see in other pictures soon as I go through them that it's an entire island with no connection. So I don't know if this was due to inaccuracies or just taking hearsay from other maps when they're drawing new maps in them days, I'm not sure, or if there was a reason for all this being an island in the past. But if you can see how many towns and names can you see, there's just loads of them, loads and loads and loads, loads and loads. And as I showed before, this top area, the top northwestern area, was America in them days. And turns out that around here, around where New York is today, and that, I think that's where New York is called Francia, just under Nova, and that's Tetrionalis. And these were the names back in the day of these areas. Europe. Another one, oops, Another one. Oh yeah, and on these, so you got all these chariot being driven by birds. How does that work? But anyway, yes. So, oh yeah, that I wanted to show as well. Down here, this looks like a Crystal Palace, and it's called Diane Temple. Yeah, very interesting. But even in this map, they're still showing giant, ugly fish type monsters everywhere, and showing at Francia, Terre de Bredor, Nova Francia in Canada, Septenalis, Florida. Don't know. Then you've got the west coast of America, no separate islands, no California. You have the mountain range there. Yeah, I put this one on because it kind of goes on about how when you encircle Antarctica, it's actually around 60,000 miles, 65,000 miles, sorry, to encompass it. Whereas that's actually more distance than you would need to go around the equator of the globe. So, it's really fascinating, really interesting stuff. I think nowadays when you see people go around the globe, you'll see them come up here and then around there, and just literally avoid all that. But this was obviously done back in the day, and it was a military expedition. Therefore, they had funds and the ability to do this extent. It's just really interesting. This was a picture out of a book, Designator Orbis Christiani. Shows Antarctica is massive and even reaches up to Philippines way and all that. And you've got a Tartaria at the top with Asia underneath. This one shows Russia and Moscovia, both part of Europe, but showing that Russia is not in there, but rather over here, which is why I'm wondering if maybe they were both the same of some sort, kind of like how, you know, how Philip was saying in Martin's video yesterday, the day before, Philipp Druzhinin, about how everyone's set off against each other, and you've got, say, maybe the Chinese against the Japanese, and then over here you've got the North American against South American or whatever, you know, and everyone's always set off against each other. Maybe they were the two against each other back then, I don't know, just supposing. Yeah, as you can see, Septentrian, or whatever. Florida down there, that would have been, America would have been over that side. Regionalis, Chile, Patagonum. Yeah, these images are so fascinating. Persia. Showing India over here for some reason. Anyway, on to the next one. Excuse me. So, oh, that's a new one, I haven't seen that before. We've got Greenland, full, Iceland, Footland. And lots of castles and star forts everywhere. All over the place. Even Ireland as well. Yeah, it must have been a need for all this defence. If these were all built in recentish times, say post-flood, then these weren't for sound as such, but more for protection. So, don't know if they're all set against each other, or if this was to protect this country against other countries. I don't know, but just there's a lot of them. There's something that I noticed. Another Roman one. Look at these islands as well. Excuse me. Just amazing. Yeah, I put this in because it gives us a bit of a break from looking at all them lands from high up. As well, it shows all these docks in New York at a time when 1870, so 150 years ago. So it shows that even, I know it's a drawing, but it shows a depiction from high up, and it shows that the bridge was there, already built and in place. The reason I say this is because if we've got time, there'll be another picture in here in a little while that I'll show you that it shows a lot more detail than this. But look how many docks they had in New York, you know, 44 goes up to 50 odd, and that's just on one side, that's not even counting the docks over here. But there's Fulton Ferry there, you know, this was a busy place back then. Not to say it's not now, but it is definitely been a busy place for a while, longer than we believe as well. This one, Roman as well, shows the massive extent of Antarctica, Terra Australis, should I say. Australia, oh, that's either Australia or New Zealand. Can't really tell. But here you can see California has the water running through it there. Florida's still there. Toronto, is that not Toronto up here in Canada nowadays? I don't know. These little islands. It's a bit of a funny shape for South America, but they seem to have got a bunch of stuff on. Like castles as well, and down the side there. Seems that there's a few of them about in them days as well, and even in Hispania. Madagascar. Excuse me. Madagascar was called Infus Laurenci. Baba, Egypt, Europa. See in Russia, oh no, Russia's there, but Tataria. And this is showing Tataria on the left, Mongol on the right, and Asia in the centre, which is a bit odd. And the Orientals. Another one, Roman. Monday, JonLevi, and look at the size of North America there, well Canada should I say, it's massive. This is showing America now as the whole lot, doesn't even show Canada on there right now. Terra del Fuego. Frigida zone, temperate zone in Antarctica. Tataria. It's not very clear, that one. Description of the land, and that's Virginia Virginia from 1618. So I don't know how long before Columbus got there, maybe what, less than 100 years before. And there's already dozens and dozens of towns, places to stay in, the Grand Bank, and it sounds like they've settled in for a long time and got acquainted with the lands, but it's still called Frontier, with Nova above it, and Virginia down here. Can't actually see it say New York there, so I don't know if New York was called New York back then. Map of Pennsylvania from 1756, probably 200 years or so after Columbus. It's got Lake Erie, Maryland, endless. New York, oh, we've got New York. And then New Jersey underneath it. So they were around from 1750s. Here's another picture of Tartaria. Tartaria, Amsterdam, apparently. What I did find in here, I don't know if it's this one, maybe I'm not. Look how big it is there, it's got a river separating it. In another one, it kind of shows how in Tartaria, on the left hand side of their lands, they've got star forts and stuff, kind of matching what Europe do. I guess you can see it on here, but it's not as clear as the other picture I'm trying to refer to. But then over this side, all you really see is mountains and tents. So this is kind of more like how modern today Mongolians would live, I suppose, in the tents and probably moving from place to place in their land. But we've got names of places here. Kali, Barsal, Kateo. There was one that I read in John Stryce's book down here, Tomsk I think it was called, I don't know where it is on here. But the reason I say that is because Tomsk is probably one of the towns in the entire world that is furthest away from any ocean. It's literally just bang in the middle of Russia. And John Stryce, most of the expeditions he does in his book is on ship, but he does do a couple of things on journeys on caravans where he's got groups of people and they're just carrying their goods or whatever with them. So even to walk from an ocean, maybe it was the Indian Ocean down here, or maybe it was from up here in cold waters of North Russia and the Siberia way, and then trek down to wherever Tomsk is, somewhere around here, then how long would that have taken? That's like walking across Europe. That would have taken absolutely ages. But in the book it's merely weeks. Just something that confused me. Just don't really know what to think of it right now. Anyway. So in Tartaria, some of the areas they've got, Tagalistan is actually on the outside. I thought they were on the inside, sorry. And you've got America right there. So it would have been possible for the Tartarians to run down America. And if they don't exist in today's maps, but all the other countries do, then there's obviously a reason why they've been nullified from history. And seeing as it's all now Russia, I wonder if it's either Russia that's taken them out of history, or if they've taken themselves out of history for a reason and allowed Russia to act as the caretaker of their land, or the one that appears to own the land. Maybe Tartaria is still Tartaria, we just don't know. I mean, how often do you hear about these lands in the news? Or how often do you see things on Google Maps that show things going on over here? Or, you don't really hear much about this end of the world, ever. Here's an image from a book. Not very clear, but just look at the detail. What they were doing 100 years ago. It's quite, I think I showed this before. This one with the Temple of Diana. Tartaria here doesn't look very big, but it's still there nonetheless. India there. Guessing that's China, yeah. Cool, them forts and stuff. So being where Tartaria was as well, they kind of connect on to the Chinese, the Indian, even down where the Black Sea is, and to the sugar. Even down to the Black Sea and that, and then touching the edge of Europe, and also connecting to Russia, and also not far from America. So it's not difficult to believe or to realise that you know, if they had pokey shoulders, they're going to be poking into all of their neighbours. So you will have your Chinese Tatarian, you will have your Eastern Tatarian, your Indian Tatarian, your American Tatarian, your Russian Tatarian. And it's just strange that how an entire landmass like this, bigger than Europe and China, or bigger than China and India combined, or whatever, how its history can just be eradicated so quickly, and that even now, only 200, 250 years after maps were being drawn with it publicly shown, that now it seems like they're nowhere. So I'm wondering if, you know, the Tatarians were just moved off land and put into other countries. You know, what if the likes of Czechostan and countries down there are a part of Tataria? I don't know. I've got two friends from Tajikistan, and they're sisters, and they're really nice girls. But you know, when they told me a bit about the world they come from, it's just nothing like what we're used to here. But nonetheless, they're living over here. Well, in another country over here, but living over here anyway. Sorry. So here's another map of Tatari. Oh God, been out that shit. Nice one, cheers mate, appreciate it. Sorry, just been a minute outside. And anyway, so we've got Tataria, Kathia, China, with the Great Wall there. Don't know when this was though. 70th degree parallel there. There's no date for the map at all, so I can't really see when this was done. But Mongol there. Yeah, I'm running out of time. I've not got that much time left. I don't know how many pictures I've got left either. Here. See how it's lush lands as well. You know, there's mountains and trees everywhere. A few star forts here and there. Tatar, Magog, Mongol. Niven, Tatar, Belgian, Canova, and you've got more the Tatarian desert here, which is filled with trees, which coincides neighbours with Russia, and they have one or two star forts here and there. And then you've got the Turks of Tatar. Don't know. Got the Caspian Sea there. Persia underneath. The Great Mogul Empire there. And then China there. Cathay, I think that is. Cathay. Yeah, it's just all really fascinating how it's all still public and available for us to see all this, but it's been able to be kept as quiet as it has. This is crazy. And even in this map of Arabia, you can see the Torah ain't that far away, just up there. In this map, I put it on because I just thought it was quite shocking how they seem to think that the land goes like that. Excuse me. Oh god. How landmass goes like that, it's just crazy. And then California is its own island in this as well, and that's called Mozim Lek. There that is. Mexico over here, Florida there, Virginia there, Canada up there, and is this still Francia? I don't know. We've got New Britain up there. Don't know if that still exists. New Britain. And you've got Europe here with Rusland and Muscovy within it. Tatar there. Siberia there. And then up here you've got Moscovich as well at the top. But you've even got towns and places up here. Whereas nowadays, if you look at Google Maps, this is unexplored regions. Nova Zemlya, I was talking about that in one of the pictures earlier. What's that over there? Japan seems to have a whole bunch more land on it. Oh, it's just drawn but quite inaccurately. But Australia used to be called New Holland. And then on the south side, can't really see what that says. But this shows this as a separate island here. I'm literally going to run out of time any second, so I'll just scroll through these and you can pause them. Look at them. That was a plan of the fire from Detroit in 1805. They had a plan of how to rebuild a city. 2 years later, they'd perfected the plan. What? And it's got like the symbol of the devil's star in it. Yep, literally going to run out any second now. Hope you enjoyed. I'll try and do another video today actually, I've got a bit of time, so I'll go through what I've